Hello and welcome to this special show where we'll be taking your questions to medical experts on dengue. This as Delhi and its surrounding areas are grappling with a sharp surge in dengue cases. Why have cases been rising so steeply this year? There have already been 9 deaths this year compared to just 1 each in the last 2 years. Over 1,000 cases in Delhi in the month of November alone. And it's just been 11 odd days, so we can expect to see that number rising even higher. Doctors are also warning that they're seeing more severe cases this year, including many more in children. Sonakshi Chakravarti reports.
First COVID, now dengue. Multiple patients on one bed in Delhi hospitals, and in this case, the patients are mostly children. 14-year-old Inderjeet Singh has been battling dengue for 2 weeks now. Unhappy with the treatment in Bijnor in Uttar Pradesh, his family brought him to Delhi.
डॉक्टर्स मतलब चार्ज इतना करते हैं वहाँ पे ना, एक दिन में 10-10 हज़ार रुपये चार्ज किया उन्होंने, लेकिन ट्रीटमेंट उन्होंने वो दिया नहीं जो चाहिए बच्चे को। हम यहाँ पे 8 तारीख को लेके आए थे बच्चे को। एक तो गरीब इंसान अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाता है व्हीकल को।
45-year-old Kanti is waiting on the footpath at Delhi Safdarjung Hospital, waiting to hear about her son who is inside along with many other dengue patients.
बोला डॉक्टर कितने प्लेटलेट्स हो गए?
प्लेट जब जिस टाइम हम लाए थे डॉक्टर साहब तो 18,000 थी, अब 8,000 बता रहे हैं। बेटा मेरा बच्चा ऐसे सीरियस हालत में तो घबराहट तो होती है, क्या करें।
कोई बात।
Doctors say they are seeing a 3-fold increase in dengue among children this year.
How many fold it has increased children, dengue children patients?
Although it is difficult to say, but I think 2 to 3 times patient are admitted on dengue cases.
So last year it was nearly 30%, 30-40%?
Now it is 70 to 80%.
Not just an increase in admissions, doctors are pointing at multiple organ failure.
बच्चों में तो हमारा ऑलमोस्ट 80% ऑक्यूपाइड है इस वक्त डेंगू से, सीरियस कंडीशन बच्चे हैं। ये हो रहा है कि इस बार जो पेशेंट्स हैं वो मल्टी ऑर्गन फेलियर के साथ आ रहे हैं।
As per Delhi health officials, the city has logged over 2,700 dengue cases so far this year, of which 9 have died, 6 of them children. Doctors we spoke to told us that this year they are seeing a 3-fold increase in dengue admissions in children alone. Hospital beds are running at full capacity with at least 2 to 3 patients on it amid this massive dengue outbreak. In Delhi, with Saurabh Shukla and Prem Singh, Sonakshi Chakravarti, NDTV.
Well, we have some of the best experts on the show with us, and we're going to be taking your questions live. So do call in on that number on your screens, 83770837, and we'll have that placard on our screens right through so that you can call at any point of time. Joining us on the show, Dr. D.S. Rana, Chairman, Board of Management, Sir Ganga Ram Hospital. We're also being joined by Dr. Deepak Diwan, Director, Renal Sciences, Regency Super Speciality Hospital, Lucknow. Dr. Padma Srivastav, Chief of the Neurosciences Center at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, is also with us, and we were expecting Dr. B.L. Sherwal, Director of the Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital, to also join us in a few minutes. But let me begin with Dr. D.S. Rana. You know, Dr. Rana, you've been talking to some of my colleagues, and you said that the dengue outbreak in Delhi definitely seems more severe this year. What are you basing this on? What have been your observations in patients who are coming into hospital this year with dengue?
I'm not able to. I could not hear your question correctly, but you're asking about something about dengue. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you.
Yes, Dr. Rana, can you tell us the kind of dengue cases you are seeing this time? Are they higher in number and are they more severe?
Yeah. You know, there is no doubt that this year, since the dengue came in being this country, this is the highest number of patients we are seeing, and especially children. Right. They are also affecting, and they are coming with very severe disease. We don't know number in type of number, but the number of serious cases are more this year, you know. And especially in children, you are seeing multi-organ failure like kidney failure, heart failure, and people coming with a liver failure. And various disturbances apart from low platelet, which people were very much afraid of. So we are seeing a little different clinical picture this year, and morbidity and mortality is also higher on higher side.
All right, that is particularly worrying. Dr. Padma Srivastav, has that been your experience as well? Classically, what are the symptoms of dengue, and how much is it different this year in terms of what is being seen in hospitals across the city?
Thank you, Ankita. Yes, so classically, conventionally, like dengue has been associated with high fever, there are joint pains, and then you develop rashes. So, this kind of a picture which is conventional, and it is said that 1 in 4, someone who is bitten by the mosquito, 1 in 4 would develop these symptoms, but it's just 1 in 20 who would land up with a serious illness. That said, what is being seen now has been reported in the last couple of weeks as well, that it's not that they do have high fever, not necessarily that all of them have these very severe joint pains, but they're coming up and not even a drop in the platelet count, which is a red flag. They're just coming with very high elevated liver enzymes, going into liver failure. They're getting into shock syndromes, drop in blood pressure, quickly going into, the kind of a situation where they need to go into ICU very fast. So the usual red flags that once the fever subsides, you monitor the platelets are going down, then you come in. That seems to be different now, that even with platelets not being low, they're landing up with this multiple organ issues. And as you again said, you pointed out very clearly that it is the children who seem to be taking the brunt. That's another thing which is different this time. So the numbers were always probably, kind of draconian, but compared to 2015 when it was really, really high, this year seems to be, we are sort of, going into those scales which should not be going to. So as you said, 2007.
So Dr. Srivastav, what you're saying then is that, if 2015 was really the benchmark in terms of the worst number of cases or the highest number of cases, this is headed in that direction. Should we be worried? The last couple of years, there was a distinct lull.
True, and hopefully not. Hopefully we shouldn't be doing that. But then there seems to be several other things, as you rightly said. Again, there is this huge climate change, and Ankita, that this is one disease, and the mosquito breeds well with 16 degrees and above climate, and it is seen in this, relatively low line. It should be less than 2,000 feet, and the water clogging and all those issues. Probably there has been, and we've grappled with the COVID. So the last couple of years, then, the emphasis was more on COVID. So I really don't know what more could have been done for this. Right. So it is true that maybe there were multiple issues which have been involved in this, but I hope those things will quickly settle. And I think things are being made out. So I don't think we should be headed towards 2015.
Okay, fair enough. That's reassuring at least. Dr. Deepak Dewan, a lot of our callers want to know about what to watch out for, how to prevent, what kind of precautions to take. But most of all, once someone has been diagnosed with dengue, there is a bit of this sense of helplessness because there's no specific treatment for dengue apart from, paracetamol for the fever and so on. What is it that they should be doing? How do they monitor? When do they know that the case is severe enough, to take a patient to hospital?
As with other fevers, dengue can range from being a asymptomatic fever to a fever with multi-organ involvement. And majority of the patients, they have mild symptoms in the form of low-grade fever, muscle aches, retroverbal ache, weakness. But what is important is to look for warning signs and symptoms. And these are, to highlight them, pain in abdomen, weakness, marked lethargy, nausea, vomiting. And first and foremost, I will say that patients should not be going in for self-medications because there is a popular belief that papaya leaves, papaya seeds, and some fruits, they are helpful. So I would suggest any person who has been diagnosed with dengue to be under a follow-up of a doctor to get the investigations done on a routine basis. And as soon as there are warning signs and symptoms, he should be consulting a doctor and she should be hospitalized.
Right.
then we have vulnerable groups who are more susceptible to
So what
severe
are those,
disease.
Doctor, pardon me for interrupting, but what are those warning signs and symptoms? When does just high fever and weakness really sort of become something else? What is it exactly that people should be watching out for?
As I told you, pain abdomen,
Right.
vomiting,
Yes.
nausea, that is feeling of nausea, that is a sign of liver involvement, kidney involvement,
Right.
breathlessness, extreme degree of weakness, and then there is a fall in blood pressure. So these are the signs and symptoms which a normal person can see, and then he can seek a medical advice and preferably to get admitted. And I was talking about the vulnerable group.
Yes.
Those individuals who are more susceptible to a severe disease. This includes children, infants, pregnant females, those individuals with any chronic disease, including chronic kidney disease, chronic liver disease, individuals
Right.
with COPD, individuals with heart disease. So these are the individuals who are very susceptible to a severe disease, and they should seek medical advice as soon as possible.
All right. That's very clear. Thank you. We have our first caller online. Amit Saxena is with us. Amit, go ahead with your question for the doctors.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, doctors.
Good morning.
My son had dengue and he is infected 2 times in last 4 years. And we are totally helpless to how to treat a person suffering with the dengue, just giving him paracetamol and you can say antibiotic. So after outbreak of corona, we have made antiviral within 2 years. Why our scientists are not encouraged enough to make an antiviral for the dengue? Is there any lack of political will, or it is less profitable?
Okay, who would like to answer that? Dr. Srivastav, do you want to take that? Yeah, go ahead.
Very good question. One is that, an important point that he has raised is that being infected with dengue twice. And that's possible because there are 4 serotypes. So the thing is that once there is a dengue with one serotype, that doesn't mean that you will not be infected with dengue. So therefore, personal precautions would become a must. So do not think that you would be, not vulnerable to another serotype. That's one thing. The second thing is, yes, there is a global research which has always been there against antiviral issues and also antiviral vaccines. But just as is with other viruses, in fact, if you look at neurological involvement in viruses, for herpes simplex encephalitis, we have some treatment. As against several other varieties of viruses which can cause encephalitis, and we do not have a specific treatment. So these are very complex diseases. Hence, the research is on, but there's not been a breakthrough. It is not because of a lack of political will or any other will. The third is, yes, there's active research also for the development of a vaccine against, even for dengue. So the moment it is available, then it will be a welcome change. There's a global, I must say that's a huge research which is going on to it. So sometime in future, I'm sure we will get a breakthrough in that.
Right. Thanks for that, Dr. Srivastav. Let me also bring in Dr. B.L. Sherwal, Director of the Rajiv Gandhi Super Speciality Hospital and DSCI Director, Chacha Nehru Bal Chikitsalaya, who's also with us now on the show. Dr. Sherwal, we've been sort of talking about the warning signs of dengue and also when to know to hospitalize a patient. But my question to you specifically is, how frequently should the platelet count be checked when one is monitoring a child at home who has dengue?
At least once in a day, we should go for platelet count testing.
All right, at least once in a day. But at what point, doctor, should parents feel the need to hospitalize or scale this up to medical experts?
Yeah, nowadays actually, if the platelet count is around 50, then parents should be a little alert. And now, if it is still 30,000, then we should always seek the advice of the medical, and we should be in touch with the medical expert, because anytime if it goes down, then platelet may be needed, and the patient may be require admission in the hospital, and even sometimes they require the ICU admission.
Right. Let me also now bring in Dr. Devan. Dr. Devan, in terms of the cases you've seen or, other doctors are seeing this year, have you also come across this sign that, the platelet reduction is not necessarily that much this year, but that sort of organ failure is happening despite that?
Definitely, the pattern is different this year. The platelet count might not be low. And let me tell you, platelet count is not a very important prognostic marker also in dengue fever. It is the other organ involvement, especially the organ of the liver, the kidneys, the brain and circulation, which is an important marker. Okay. And we have to be very cautious about these. The people in general, they talk about the platelet count, but we are more concerned about the other organ involvement. Yes, definitely platelet count has to be monitored, but it is not an important factor now.
All right. So anything else that Dr. Srivastava, would you like to also add to that, the fact that it seems to be sort of asymptomatic or atypical cases of dengue that we are seeing this year where, it's not so much that very rapid crashing of platelet counts, which we've seen in other years, which seems to be the trouble, but we're seeing cases of multiple organ failure even without that happening. Is that worrying in your opinion?
Absolutely, it's worrisome, Ankita, because, that one biomarker which seemed to raise a red flag doesn't seem to be here. That's what, other doctors, Dr. Devan so nicely pointed out. Said that, even I would add on even headache and pain behind the eyes as an important feature out here. And, I'm not a pediatrician, I'm seeing the adult dengue. And more importantly, the dengue and post-dengue neurological complications. And there's a whole lot of autoimmune phenomena that we are observing these days. It is peculiar, dengue involving the brain, and that's one of those really, really horrific features that can happen. And as Dr. Devan said, it is these organs which up both mortality and morbidity. And hence, any of these symptoms, you have abdominal pain and nausea and shock, that apart even headaches, very severe headaches and pain behind the eyes, any of these things will also be red flags. So the red flag spectrum is different, and this I think everybody should be aware of and not just take it as just a fever and a rash and then we are going to count just platelets and then be done with that. Yes.
Right. Thank you so much. We have a couple of more callers online. Sandeep is calling from Bengaluru. Sandeep, go ahead with your question for our doctors.
Ma'am, we just come to know about this. See, there are a lot of mosquitoes is there. Like how we come to know particulars about that particular mosquito has bitten us, and what is the immediate reaction of that he has bitten us, and immediately we will come to know. Because in the day, over the day, there are a lot of mosquitoes will be here and there. How will come to know that particular dengue mosquito has bitten us, and what is the immediate reaction for that? How will it will precaution on that?
Dr. D.S. Rana, do you want to take that? Effectively, this gentleman is asking us, how do we tell dengue fever apart from any other kind of fever that you might also be getting in this season? Dr. Rana, you'll have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Merely if the mosquito has bitten somebody, that doesn't mean that he or she is going to get dengue. And it's very difficult to see with the eye that which is dengue mosquito and which is non-dengue mosquito. But since dengue is in the season right now and is going off also, one should be careful. If after 4 or 5 days somebody gets very high, usually everybody describes a symptom, very high grade fever, more than 104 degrees, and eye pain in the eye, stomach ache, and all those symptoms. And then one must get at the earliest dengue serology. And it is possible to detect dengue fever very early, and that is very important. And if it is negative, well and good, then it can be some other fever. But exclude dengue nowadays. That is important. That must be clear. Any fever can be dengue. Apart from this symptom, you must. That is the first thing.
Right.
And if fever is persisting after 5 days also, then one must consult doctor. Of course, if the dengue is positive, then platelets must be monitored and other symptoms, as the doctors told, they should be also monitored. But I would like to stress again that when the disease started somewhere in 2008 or something like that, at that time, since then people are too much scary of low platelet count,
Right.
And low platelet count should not scare the people at all. They should monitor, and there is you must have, everybody knows that there is no point of giving platelet transfusion till the counts are below 20,000 or somebody starts bleeding, And thereafter also, in certain hospital, like certain in our hospital, we do quality of platelets. Sometimes counts of platelet may be only 20,000, and quality is good, then you will not necessarily give platelets.
Okay,
but
so that's...
as every speaker told you, that this year there are other symptoms bothering about.
Yes. That's very important to put into context that, don't obsess about the platelet count. That in itself is not the most dangerous marker, but also important that, get tested, seek hospitalization if needed in more severe cases. We have Rajiv from Gurugram online with us. Rajiv, what's your question?
Yeah, hi Ankita, thanks for giving me time. So my question to all the panelists would be about the active hours of the mosquitoes, dengue mosquitoes. So earlier we had the knowledge of the mosquito bite generally in the morning in the wee hours, and now I was reading an article that the mosquitoes are active in the night time. So is it true? So how can the doctor can explain this?
Who would like to take that?
I'll take it.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So that is true. That's again a very intelligent question. It is true that they will say that this Aedes aegypti, which is the female, that's a mosquito which is causing this, but it's not just dengue. It can cause chikungunya, it causes yellow fever and what have you. So then it is true that it's said that early morning hours and that it is a day mosquito. But you see, these mosquitoes are also evolving. We've seen that evolution of the spectrum of illness. We're seeing evolution of the way you're saying that, no longer platelets being low and you have this. It's an evolution. And we also have several serotypes. So the virus is evolving, so also the carrier. And hence, it is not necessary that it just has to. Maybe it is evolving along with us. The second important thing is whether it is a nighttime mosquito or a daytime mosquitoes, you should prevent yourself from being bitten. So I think you have malaria, you have, these dengue, chikungunya and other type of viruses. In fact, it is also a carrier for Zika virus. So I think the take home should be, please be careful. Don't get bitten. So for that, you should prevent the breeding grounds and take adequate personal precautions. Yes. That's more important instead of worrying about whether it's day or night.
Right. Dr. Devan, a quick question to you. When somebody in the house already has dengue, has been diagnosed with dengue, is there a threat that a mosquito could bite that person and then transmit it to other family members also? And for how long then do you have to monitor that? How long to take precautions when you have one dengue patient in a household already?
This is a very relevant question. As has been outlined, the Aedes aegypti mosquito, it's a day, it bites during the day, and if one family member is affected and if there are mosquitoes in the house, there's a high probability that other family members will be affected. And this is the reason why we are seeing children more days these days, because children are at home and ladies and females are also at home because of the COVID lockdown. The children are not going to school, so they are inside home. So if one member gets the disease, all members who are in the house are susceptible to get the disease. So as has been rightly said, vector control, that is control of mosquitoes, is very important. Use sprays, use creams, empty all utensils or other things in the house which can breeding ground for mosquitoes, and then we can control it. And definitely it runs in the families. If one is infected, it's high possibility that other members, including children and ladies who are there in the house during the day, are likely to get infected.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much indeed, doctors, for being on the show and for all the callers who called in with your questions. We'll continue to keep our focus on dengue cases as they rise, not just in Delhi, but in other parts of the country as well. And this time with some serious effects that we're seeing this year. Thank you for watching.